very big thank you for everyone to join today. We know that, yeah, it's a busy time, but you're taking time out of your day to listen to Peter chat all about Malta. So my name's Jodie. I work for Youtravel and I'm the Northern Account Manager. And yeah, Peter Green is with us from Visit Malta, and he's going to be taking us through about 25-minute presentation ish. And then at the end of the presentation, if you've got any questions that you want to ask, just please use the chat. Sorry, somebody's just said they're struggling with sound. They're going to exit and try again. Okay, sorry, Emma. So just enter the questions into the chat at the very end of the presentation, and then Peter will answer as many as you can. Please listen very carefully, because we have some prizes up for grabs today. We're giving away a £50 Love to Shop voucher to Malta Goody Bags, and as we said earlier, there's a space on our Malta FAM trip, which is coming up later on in the year. So at the end of the presentation, after the Q&A, we're just going to ask some questions. First person to answer correctly through the chat will win the prize. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I will hand this over to Peter. All yours. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jodie, for that. Jodie's introduced me there. My name's Peter Green. I am the trade trainer for the Malta Tourism Authority, or Visit Malta. And yeah, my job basically is to be the port of call for you guys. If you have any questions, any queries, any needs, anything that you need at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. But alongside that, I have to give you the hopefully abundant amount of information that I can on our lovely archipelago. And I mean, as much as I can go into it, I feel like, there's only really one way to really kind of encapsulate and really, showcase what our island is about. And that's by showing you a video. So it's a short, quick video just to start with, just to give you a little bit about what Malta is all about. So enjoy. That's brilliant. But here we kind of go into a little bit about Malta and kind of how things go. So our lovely little archipelago has pretty much been the center of attention in the Mediterranean for the last, I don't even know, maybe about 5,000-6,000 years. Because of our key central location, we've had something like 14 different civilizations call us home. We've had the Phoenicians, the Romans, the Ottomans, the Byzantines, the Arabs, the Sicilians, the French, the British for a long time. We are an ex-British colony. And probably one of the most notable ones is the Knights of St. John. And all these have kind of left their influence on Malta and left their sort of culture in a way. So our culture itself is very much a blend of all these previous civilizations, and it's not something that you can really find anywhere else in the entire world. We are an archipelago. We're made up of 3 different islands. So we have the main island of Malta, we have this little island of Gozo, and then we have our wee sister island of Camino. And it's worth noticing that every single one of these has a different touristic offering. So the type of holiday that you can have in Malta is very different to the type of holiday that you can have in Gozo, and we will come on to that in a little bit later on. And when we talk about, people being bilingual or multilingual, they quite often have a first or a second language. Malta actually has 2 first languages. We've got English and we've got Maltese, and Maltese is actually a mixture of French, Arabic, a little bit of Italian in there as well, and a little bit of British. So if you've got people who speak these languages, they will absolutely survive while they're out there. But again, something like 97% of the population speaks English, so it's a very easy offering in terms of getting out and about, getting around. All the signs are in English, all the menus are in English. It's very easy for your customers to kind of navigate in there. We are very close to home. We're only a 3-hour flight from the UK, about 3.5 hours from Ireland. So especially, obviously for those maybe even winter months when people want to get away for a little bit of winter sun, we are a year-round destination, during the winter, even sort of like the late teens, early 20s. So it's a nice close to home holiday destination. And we do have over 300 days of sunshine annually. And there's kind of a bit of a perception about Malta and a bit of a stigma around it about kind of how the touristic offering is. But certainly since maybe the early 2010s, when Valletta was named as the European Capital of Culture for 2018 and into the run up throughout that decade, we saw the touristic offering completely change, revitalize, re-enhance itself. We kind of reinvented our culture a little bit to come away from that almost like Britishness that we had from being an ex-British colony. So all that, really, really does encapsulate a beautiful, beautiful destination. And as I say, for those that have maybe been in the past, as Jodie said, she went there kind of pre-pandemic, it has changed massively since then. So I'd always say go again to Malta to try out the new offerings that we have. And, your holiday starts when you obviously get on the plane and you fly over. And, just to show you, this is actually my own picture of flying out to Malta. You can actually see Gozo in the top there, the little island of Camino, and then the north of the island of Malta there. And we are serviced by something like 16 different UK airports and Irish airports as well. We've got obviously things like Jet2, EasyJet, Ryanair, BA, Air Malta, our flagship carrier who flies out of Heathrow and Gatwick to get you out to our islands. So there's plenty of offering in terms of the options you have for the hubs to fly out to Malta too. So one of the biggest things that has changed recently is our gastronomy, or kind of like our culinary delights. And this has been really, really propelled, certainly sort of since the pandemic. So we've got this new generation of farmers who are really bringing forward the kind of like, from farm to fork concept, the sustainability aspect in terms of the food. Anything that gets wasted in the restaurants and the hotels sometimes goes back into the land in order to regenerate that cycle. And we've kind of reinvented our Maltese food, bringing back, kind of that culture of the Maltese islands. And because of that, we've now been recognized by Michelin. So we now have 5 Michelin star restaurants. You will need to know that number. So 5 Michelin star restaurants. We have 31 Michelin recognized plates around a number of different restaurants as well. So if you've got customers who are foodies, you can go out and experience that, have a different, essentially Michelin recognized meal for breakfast, for lunch and for dinner, and then go back and eat in your favorite one at the end of the week. And all these foods are Italy inspired. So we have the pastas from Italy. We have our own versions of ratatouille from France. We have our own versions of tagine from North Africa. We have the British colonial spices that all fusion together to create a really rich and diverse culinary scene. And to complement that, we actually are a very good wine tourism destination. So we have 14 different vineyards and wine estates around the island. We have our own 2 indigenous brands of wine that don't exist anywhere else in the world. They're called Gargantina and Gelosa. And you can only have them in Malta. So, again, that's a real USP for your customers. You can go along to these vineyards, you can visit them, they'll show you around. You can even have wine tasting with little kind of like local delights there. So the video that's playing at the moment is actually my own pictures from when we went to Tabetta back in May. So this is the kind of views that you can expect when you go out to these areas. But as I say, as the son of an ex-chef, like I love the food out of Malta. It is absolutely superb. It is next level. And if you've got anyone who is really into their food, I would highly recommend it as a food destination. And there's kind of this perception that we don't have beaches, but that's not the case. We have an abundance of beaches, and I think it's because of the main areas. When you're staying in Sliema, when you're staying in St. Julian's, when you're staying in Valletta, then yes, absolutely. There's not that much sort of sandy beaches around there. There is rocky outcrop beaches, there's artificial beaches, but especially when you go up to the north of the island and over onto Gozo, we have white sand and red sand beaches. We have 12 blue flag beaches, and that's just the blue flag ones. We have other beaches that obviously aren't recognized, but you can head to Ramla Bay, you can head to Sambla Bay, you can head to Melilla or Adira Bay, which is up in the north. We have Antufia or Golden Bay over in the west of the island, and all these are perfect for those lazy beach days, if you just want to relax and unwind from all the sights and sounds that Malta has to offer. And one of the top tips that I can give, especially up in the north in Melilla Bay, is they're very gentle, kind of like sloping entry points. So especially for the families who have got wee ones who want to maybe just splash around in the water a little bit, they can absolutely do that without the kids, dropping off into the abyss of the ocean below. It's absolutely lovely for the families to play around in. So again, for a beach destination, it is something to keep in mind. Obviously compared to the likes of the Costa the Algarves, maybe not so much, but we still have that history and that other touristic offering that combines with the beaches in there as well. So these are some of the best places to stay, and this is not an exhaustive list. This is actually just me kind of like pitching some to you. So Valletta is our capital. It's been our capital since the late 1500s, and here you're going to find a variety of options for you to stay in. So we've got 5-star hotels located just outside the gates of Valletta. When you walk into Valletta itself, we have what's called palazzos, and palazzos are these sort of 16th, 17th century townhouses and mansions that have been converted into boutique properties. And just to give you an idea, you go to other destinations and boutique properties are very samey. You walk in, you minimal rooms, and facilities are a little bit less, but it's about where they're located, and that is the case here. But ours come with a bit of history in behind it as well. So for example, we have one called the AX Rosselli. It's a beautiful 5-star property, boutique property in Valletta, but Rosselli was actually the tailor for the Knights of St. John. So when you walk into the property, it is all tailor themed. They have mannequins, they have mock-ups of dresses that date back to the 1500s. The Michelin star restaurant that's underneath it is called Undergrain, and that is all tailor themed with the hats and the kind of style. We have another one called La Falconeria, and that was actually ran by the Falcon Master for the Knights of St. John. So when you walk into it, it's an open courtyard property, because back in the 1500s, he used to let the falcons out to go and hunt and then bring back the food to cook in the evening. So that little bits of history just mix in with those palazzos. So if you've got customers that want to stay in Valletta, they can do a couple of nights in one of these palazzos and then maybe move to another part of the island to stay in a more traditional hotel. We've then got Sleeman St. Julian's. Sleeman St. Julian's is kind of like the safe option. It's an easy bet for any of your customers who are maybe going for the first time. Here you're going to have restaurants, bars, touristic shops. They've got options for excursions. They've got ferry options to get them over to Valletta. Here you can get the public transport. It's very easily accessible. And here you're going to find a range of 3-star, 4-star, 5-star hotels. We've got family run options. We've got chain hotels such as Hyatt Regencies or the Malta Marriott or the Corinthia or the Radisson Blu, depending on the style that the customer is going to be looking for. So it's a very, very easy option, and I've stayed there probably about 9 or 10 times now. It's just a nice little area. Then something a little bit different, we've got Mdina. Mdina is our old capital from before Valletta, and here you're going to find quirky, again, boutique style properties, something like the Jara Palace, which is a stunning property with a Michelin star restaurant with views right out over the island. And as you walk around Mdina, it's more about the history that's there because of, obviously being an ex-capital from about the sort of 1400s. And with this, the quirky selling point of Mdina is it's known as the Silent City. The only people who are allowed to drive here are either local or like residents or government officials. And to give you an idea, there's not that many residents. So when you're walking around, everyone gets around by horse and carriage or by foot. And in the evening, it's lit up by all these old school lanterns, and it's very picturesque, very beautiful. I'd recommend it for at least maybe a 1 or a 2 night stay for someone who's maybe looking for something a little bit different. And I've put Gozo on here. I've got another slide on Gozo, so I will come back to it. But Gozo is just absolutely stunning. It's like taking a step back 50 years. You've got those rolling green, verdant hills. You've got the quaint little picturesque sleepy villages. You've got those sandy bays and beaches. And it's for those that want to unwind and relax. That's the words. And the offering here is slightly different because, yeah, you've got a couple of hotels, things like the Kempinski, which is a beautiful 5-star sprawling one. But there's a very good offering of villa properties over here. So it's for those that maybe want to twin center a little bit, and they can do 3 or 4 days in a hotel down in Sleeman, St. Julian's, Valletta, etc., and then go over to Gozo and unwind in a villa with their own space, just getting out and about and relaxing and exploring. So it is a great offering, as I say, as a twin or multi-center. And I love pushing this because I'm a big history fan. So for me, this is fascinating. But over the Grand Harbour from Valletta, we have an area called the Three Cities. The Three Cities is actually where the Knights of St. John who built Valletta, it's where they stayed. And it's actually where they fought off the Ottomans during the Great Siege of 1565. So here you're going to find a little bit more history than even Valletta has to offer. You're going to have those boutique palazzos again. You've got wine bars in there. You've got restaurants right on the waterfront. It's absolutely stunning. Our maritime museums museums here. We've got the forts here as well. And as you're going around, you will discover an area that really is more authentic and maybe a little bit more sort of Maltese than other parts of the island. And one of the best ways to see this, as you can see by that gorgeous, gorgeous dog on the right-hand side, that is Max. Max is a stunningly beautiful dog. He's only a year old. He's a puppy in this, but he is absolutely fantastic. But he is one of the guests that you'll find when you go to the Rolling Geeks. Now, the Rolling Geeks is an electric golf buggy that you drive around the three cities, and it's a great way to see the area from a different viewpoint. As you drive around, it's got an audio tour, so it tells you about the history of the area, and you can get 4 people up to, so especially for families or maybe for groups of friends, or if you've got someone who's maybe got a flight later in the day and they have to check out from their hotel, they can go and do the Rolling Geeks tour, and they will look after the luggage for you as well. So it's a great way to kill a couple of hours, especially if you've got that later on flight, and you get to see Max. Max is absolutely gorgeous, honestly. Every single time I go, I ignore the formalities of signing forms and things, and I just go straight to go see Max. The owner's getting fed up with me. She's like, Peter, I need your driver's license. I'm like, yeah, sorry, Max. So yeah, absolutely gorgeous. But you know, it is well worth doing, even not just for Max, but just for the area itself in general. Cool. You might not know of us as being a bit of a party destination, but we are a little bit. We have our own little nightlife hub. We have a thing called Patchaville, which is where the the young and lively can go out. You know, we've got clubs until 4 o'clock in the morning, things like that. But we also have Cafe Del Mar on the island. And Cafe Del Mar, most people know it for being in Ibiza, but Cafe Del Mar is actually a chain. There's 12 in the entire world. We have one in Malta, up in Bujaba, up in the north. And here you can lounge by the Balinese beds, and you can, relax and just take it easy, listen to good tunes, sip some cocktails, and watch the sunsets. And because of what they've done, we've now seen other ones cropping up around the island. So the pictures here are actually from the 1926. These are my own pictures from when I was there in May. But you can see that we've got a few other ones that all along the coastline, you can have this day of chilling, relaxing, enjoying the music, enjoying the food. And these go hand in hand with our festival scene and also our event scene, which is absolutely, it's phenomenal. It really, really is. I mean, to give you an idea, last weekend we had Lewis Capaldi performing in Floriana, just outside Valletta. Next weekend we've got Isle of MTV, which is a free festival that's hosted for one day by obviously MTV, and the headliners there are Marshmello, French Montana, and I want to say Joel Corey, but I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I think Joel Corey. But then you go alongside that, we've also got Annie Mac's Lost and Found. We've got Abode on the Rock, which is over in Gozo. We've got jazz festivals. We've got our own Philharmonic Orchestra, which puts on, obviously concerts. We have, I think it's this weekend or the weekend just past, we've had the BBC BBC Concert Orchestra doing rock anthems. So they did a montage of 20 different songs for rock anthems. We've got a brand new festival this year in October called Defected, which is run by the guys who do Defected in Croatia, and we all know what Croatia's like for its festival scene. So when you start putting together all these things with the beach clubs, the events, we have something for literally any type of customer, from the 18-year-olds who want young and fun to maybe the millennials who want to go and relax during the day and do a bit of culture, but then still go out in the evening and enjoy themselves. And even for the likes of the families, we've got someone like Earth Garden, or we've got Summer Days, which is more family-friendly festivals, including things like cultural workshops. So no matter what type of customer you've got, there is an event for everyone, and these run all the way throughout the year as well. So again, you can highly recommend this. And I've got, hopefully if this video plays, I've got a video regarding our kind of nightlife scene, so enjoy. So I said I'd come back to Gozo. As I say, it's always worth mentioning Gozo because I've said already, the touristic offering is completely different to what you have on the main island of Malta. So you go over to Gozo, it's one of my favorite views when you're getting the ferry over from the north of the island. That's in the bottom left picture. Again, that's actually my own picture. And as you roll into Mjar, it's just stunning with the church up on the rooftop. And then you walk into these sleepy little towns. As you're going around, you know, there's different ways to see Gozo. One of the main ones is through a company called Yippee Tours. They do things like tuk-tuk tours, electric go-kart kind of tours. They can take you out in Jeeps and kind of Land Rovers if you want to do it that way. And they can take you to different spots in the island to take part in different activities. So you can see in the picture there, we can do yoga at our Neolithic temples. These are some of the world's oldest freestanding stone structures. We also have the food over there. So the food in Gozo is slightly different to the food in Malta. So again, you can do different offerings when you're out there. If you go to Maldonado's in Victoria, the capital of Gozo, it's stunning there. And you can do food tasting and wine tasting sessions there, and even cooking classes. As you go over to the beaches, you've got viewpoints overlooking, you know, the stunning backdrop of the red sand beaches. And, you know, some of these are ingrained in history. For those that have read Homer's Odyssey, Calypso's cave is rumored to be on Malta, you know, where the nymph Calypso kept Ulysses hostage for 7 years. So that little bit of history ties in on there as well. And then as you go into the evening time, you've again got those wine bars that pop up in the little cobbled back streets. You've got little sort of merchants peddling their wares that are all handmade, you know, so if you want to pick up something a bit different. And then actually, you know, as some of the activities, stargazing is one of the most popular ones in Gozo because of the low light pollution. So it's well worth staying past sunset. And it's worth noting that the ferries during the summer from the north, they shuttle back and forth. It takes about 20 minutes and it runs 24 hours. We also have a new fast ferry service from Valletta, which takes about 40 minutes, and that's direct from Valletta as well. So you've got a couple of different ways to get to the island, but it is well worth doing, especially as a day trip as a minimum. But I would always say spend a couple of nights in Gozo and see what it has to offer. And I've got another video, if it works, on Gozo just to give you a little bit about what it's like on the island. So you can even see from the video there, you know, it's very rustic, it's very authentic, it's very charming. It's a completely different way of life, and it's probably one of my favorite locations around the archipelago. Now, I wouldn't be doing my job correctly if I did not speak about LGBT, because we are the premier destination for LGBT in the whole of Europe. There's such a thing as called the Rainbow Index, and they measure inclusivity rights throughout the different nations of the EU. To give you an idea, back in about 2011, we ranked, I think, something like 48th. We were not very good at that. In a few short years, even just up to 2015, we made our way to the #1 spot, and we have held that #1 spot for the past 7 years. So, you know, we have one of the largest Pride parades in Europe. To give you an idea, Pride in the UK is like a day, maybe a weekend at a push. Our Pride this year starts on the Friday. It doesn't finish till the following Sunday. It's 9 days long. That's how big we go. Next year, we're going to be hosting Euro Pride, and that's Europe's largest Pride parade, and that's going to be absolutely massive. And I think that's going to go onto the back of our own Pride parade, and we're essentially going to have 2 or 3 weeks of just Pride. It's going to be crazy. You know, for that, we were one of the first European countries to launch gender neutral passports. We've outlawed conversion therapy, and you know, it's so accepted out there. You know, when you go to cities like Manchester or London and things like that, you know, there's quite often like a gay district or a gay quarter. We don't have that. We don't have that segregation off. Yes, we have niches such as like drag acts and things like that, but we don't have that separation in terms of, you know, clubs or bars that people can go to. You know, it is just the norm out there. It completely is. And this all comes from a country that's 97% Catholic, which I think is the most surprising thing to people. But we absolutely celebrate Pride massively, and we are very proud of what we do out there. Even just to give you an idea, for some of the hotels, when you go to a hotel, on their name badges, they usually have little flags of the languages they speak, so like a French flag or a German flag, things like that. We have a little rainbow flag which shows that the hotel have been trained in how to deal with LGBT consumers and customers. So, you know, that's little initiatives that we've put in place that doesn't really exist anywhere else in the world, and that's why we are the #1 at what we do. So yeah, really, really proud of that, and we can't wait to host Pride and also have Euro Pride in next year. And then just to kind of finish up a little bit, is just to talk about some of the activities that you can do in Malta. So last year we Visit Malta, the Malta Tourism Authority, we joined ATAS just as a highlight of how good our adventure offering is. So just to cover off some of them, we are the #1 scuba diving destination in Europe, one of the top destinations in the world. We have over 100 different dive sites, including cave diving, reef diving, wreck diving. Kids can get involved in scuba diving from a younger age. In the rest of the Mediterranean, you have to be 12 to start your PADI. We start at 10, so even the kids can get involved at a younger. I learned to dive in Malta. It's one of my favorite things that I ever did in Malta. And having dived elsewhere is still one of my favorite destinations. We've got cliff-top trails for walking and biking and hiking if you want to do it that way. We are Gozo has been recognized as one of the top rock climbing destinations in the whole of the Mediterranean with over 300 different sites. We've obviously got the usual stuff, you know, like Jeep safari tours and horse riding, etc. as well, but little ones that maybe make it a bit different in terms of obviously the water sports. We're actually a really unknown surfing destination, so you can go surfing in Malta if you're a beginner or an intermediate, especially kind of like those sort of shoulder months as well. Obviously that goes hand in hand with things like windsurfing or wakeboarding as well. So the water sports is absolutely abundant left, right and center. In terms of things like boat trips, you know, we have private catamarans that you can take out. We've got the traditional tours that you can do out. We have our own regatta that happens every single year as well. So, you know, if you've got those sailors that want to go out onto the water because of our rich naval history, you know, we are very well known for what we can do on the water. So there is an absolute abundance of activities that can go hand in hand for those. So again, for those types of customers that maybe want to get out and about and explore during the day, do things like our windmill trails in the north or discover those little shallow coves, they can absolutely do that. And, you know, if you want any more information on some of this, we do have different courses that you can take in there as well. Got a little video just to show you as well as a final video. Perfect. So that's just a little insight into our world of kind of Malta and kind of how it is. I've seen Michael's just put in that he loves the 3 cities, which is very fitting because this is the sunset over the bay in the 3 cities overlooking to Valletta, which is actually, again, my own personal picture. So it's a beautiful destination. Obviously, I'm not Maltese, you know, I am Scottish, but it really is my second home. I absolutely adore it. I've been about 15 times now, and I don't think I have one bad word to say about it. I mean, even if I did, I'm not going to admit it on a live webinar either. But yeah, it's a great destination. And as I say, I think we are changing perceptions and kind of like what there is to do in Malta. Even the country itself is changing its own perceptions by offering so much more than maybe we used to. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, any thoughts, any opinions, I'll be happy to answer anything there. And yeah, just as a final one, there's me flying over Gozo in my little airplane. Again, that's my own video there as well. So I'd like to chuck that in.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God, your love of Malta just absolutely oozed through. That was fantastic. Thank you so, so much. I have learned loads. I did not know Malta had half of that, which you've just gone through. So fantastic. Thank you so much.
It's kind of my job.
Yeah, you do very well. Very well. So yes, if anyone's got any questions, just pop them in the chat. Does the MTV event that you have on, is it every year?
Yeah, so it's every year. So I think they started it, they started it about 14 years ago.
Wow.
And it's actually a free festival. So you don't even have to buy a ticket. You literally just apply for a ticket and they give I think the allocation is like 50,000. And yeah, if you get a ticket, you get a ticket. If you don't, tough luck. And then, yeah, it's a free party that we put on every single year. So yeah, so it's in Floriana, just outside of Valletta. So okay. Yeah, if you want, you know, after the event's finished, you can then go out into Valletta and, you know, go to the bars or, you know, the kind of like pubs there if you want to go out and have a few drinks afterwards, or if you want, you can then go round into Patcheville, which is the nightlife kind of area. Okay.
So now just moving on then, thank you so much for that. We're just going to ask some questions for the prizes that we're giving away today. So the first prize up for grabs is a £50 Love to Shop voucher. And fastest finger first, just type your answer in the chat and the first person to come through is the winner. So first question is, how many Michelin star restaurants are there in Malta?
Oh, Karen, straight in.
On it. Yeah, Karen, well done. You're right. Everyone's right with 5. Which I was quite surprised at, actually. 5 across Malta. That's a lot.
Yeah. So we had our first Michelin guide in 2020. That was 3. And then we had our second guide come out and a third guide. So we've got 5 now. So we've got 3 in Valletta, 1 in Mdina, and then we've got 1 in the Corinthia Palace Hotel. So it wasn't there before. It's just moved there. So you can actually stay in the hotel and eat in a Michelin star restaurant. So yeah, they're absolutely stunning. I've got a Michelin guide and I'm slowly ticking off like which ones I've eaten in. So I've now eaten in 3 of the Michelin star restaurants. So now I'm working my way through the rest.
Very nice. Well done, Karen, and everyone for answering correctly. I'll message you separately and we'll get the voucher out to you. Next question, and it's the first 2 people to answer will win a Malta Goody Bag. I don't know what's in it. It's going to be a surprise. So the question is, what is the name of the absolutely gorgeous dog who you can meet at the Roland Geeks when you go to tour the 3 cities?
See how many people were listening to this.
I know this, yeah. Oh! Karen again is correct.
Karen's all over that.
Karen is all over it, yeah, and Marina. Brilliant. So both of you will receive a goodie bag, which again, I'll speak to you separately. And then finally, the final question. This is for the space on the Youtravel FAM trip, which will be happening later on in the year, around about November time.
Big one.
Question, yeah, big one. So the question is, what is the name of the brand new festival which is being held in Malta this October for the first time ever? I think this is a tough one.
I tried to make it a little bit more tough because I dropped in the name of quite a few different ones. So
that's it. You had to really be listening to this. Oh yeah, people are struggling.
There's a bit of a stunned silence in there. I did drop the name in twice.
Yay, Laura! Well done. Defected Malta. That's correct.
Defected, yeah. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be absolutely massive. So I think it's the 7th to the 9th of October. So I'm looking at potentially going out myself for my own holiday for it. And it's all like house and electro, and it's gonna be massive. Like the guys who do it, they've done it in Croatia for a number of years now, and it's been absolutely well received out there. And then this is the first time they're bringing it out to Malta.
Amazing.
So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Laura,
Well,
well done.
Laura, well done. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining again. And Peter, you've been fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it, myself as well. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, right. Thanks a lot for having me along, and obviously giving me the opportunity to chat to all these lovely agents, and obviously a few familiar faces and some new ones as well, which I absolutely adore. So thank you very much for everyone for joining as well.